The Fool's journey, of course, begins with the Fool, card number 0, because it is through their eyes that we experience the rest of the Major Arcana. The Fool is a representation of one's soul at the very precipice of beginning a new life. So, the Fool's journey is simply the story of the soul as it goes through the different stages of development to enlightenment. But what does this mean for you if you were to receive the Fool in a tarot reading? The Fool simply signifies new beginnings. This could be a class that you're taking, this could be a new job, or the start of a new relationship. I often see this card come up for travel when you're going someplace new, or oftentimes when you are moving to a new city or a new country. And so in that journey, you become someone new, but you also open yourself up to a host of new experiences. And the easy way to remember what this card is about is to imagine this 0 as an O for openness, open heartedness. You can see how the Fool's arms are spread wide. That body language itself also signifies the energy that you are to bring in this new moment in your life. Of course, depending on the spread and the questions that you ask, the Fool could mean the exact opposite. So it could mean that you are foolhardy, that you are too trusting, that you are too naive, and maybe you need to take a step back away from the edge and look around to really see what is happening. But most often, when this card comes up, it's about taking the leap of faith, about trusting that the universe will catch you wherever you should fall. Let's take a look at the other details in the card to see how this adds to the Fool's meaning. Behind the Fool is a bright yellow backdrop. This is brought on by the sun shining in the corner. The sun in tarot can represent vitality, enthusiasm, warmth, clarity, and also a connection to one's identity and purpose. You can see how the energy of the sun is really embodied in the Fool. They seem to be full of so much life and possibility. Notice how their eyes are not looking straight ahead, but up above towards the sky. Though there are no clouds in this picture, there's a head in the clouds sort of feeling where you get a sense that the Fool is daydreaming about all the possibilities that await them. And you can notice that even though the Fool has big dreams, they carry a very little bag. This is because the Fool is starting fresh. They're not bringing the baggage of their past lives or their past selves with them. The Fool also holds a rose in their hand, which is white, which represents purity and innocence. At the feet of the Fool, we have a dog. Now, this dog can represent a spirit guide or a loyal companion or friend that is both cheering on the Fool but also warning them that they're at the very edge of something dangerous. And lastly, behind the Fool, we see these mountains. Now, whenever you see mountains in tarot, they represent the possibilities. So there's so much that the Fool could potentially achieve. Now, in the story of the soul's evolution, this would be enlightenment, or in your day to day life, it's like how far you can climb, for example, within a relationship or in a job. But let's see this in context to understand how the Fool shows up in a reading. So, the easiest spread that you can do for yourself as a beginner is block and solution. So, let's say you wanted to do a love reading. You met a new person and maybe you've gone on a few dates, but it hasn't really turned into anything as you'd hope. So, you pull the cards, block and solution. For your block, we have the Three of Swords, and for the solution, we have the Fool. Let's say that last year you went through a major breakup. And so, even though you tell yourself that you're healed and you're ready to be out there again, some part of yourself is unconsciously holding back. Maybe on your dates, you didn't come off as fun and flirty as you thought you did. Perhaps you were scared to reveal all of yourself again, in the fear that things just wouldn't work out. And so the other person was left in the dark and the cold, feeling like you weren't really that into them. And this is where it's really important to note the position of the cards and how they interact with each other and their basic energy. You can see how this card is all doom and gloom. It's cold with the rain coming down and the sharp energy of the swords piercing the heart. And on the other side, we have the bright energy of the Fool with the sun shining behind them. There's warmth and confidence. And so the solution here is surprising because you can see how the Fool is headed towards the danger of the Three of Swords. The answer here may be to understand that heartbreak is a normal part of being in relationship with others. And even if you think you're saving yourself heartbreak by pulling away, in the end, you're still putting yourself through some pain. The answer here is to take a leap of faith, to put yourself out there again. And whatever happens, at the very least, you know that you gave it your all. Also, too, something to remember when it comes to seeing the weather in cards is that the rain here is temporary, but the sun is something that always rises. Joy always finds a way to return. But let's switch things around a bit. Let's say that for the same reading, the Fool was the block and the solution was the Three of Cups. Having the Fool in the position of the block may suggest that you're trying to make something happen with someone that you don't share any common ground with. Perhaps there's really no way forward for you and this person to continue having a relationship with. Maybe you don't have anything in common. Maybe your personalities are so different that in the end you just end up annoying each other. But perhaps your head is so far up in the sky, so full of the possibilities and the excitement of just falling in love that you're just deluding yourself. Or maybe you're just being a bit naive because you don't have a lot of dating experience and so you don't really know what you're looking for. So, the solution to your dilemma lies within the Three of Cups, and perhaps this is what your spirit guide, the dog, is trying to get your attention about. Perhaps they're barking at you to return to this scene. It may be that you are searching for love in all the wrong places. Perhaps you have a friend that is better suited for you, or perhaps it's simply a period for you to enjoy the love that you experience through your friendships and take a pause on your romantic pursuits. The other simple reading that I recommend for students that I also do myself is what should I meditate on and think about today? So let's say that you pulled two cards for this single question and you got the Fool and the Devil. Looking at this pairing, I would suggest you take some time alone to ask yourself if there is something that you are running away from. Maybe this vacation that you have coming up is a way to escape your work drama. Or perhaps you're addicted to always going after the next new and shiny thing. Maybe you have a hard time settling down because you're afraid to be chained to something. If we moved these cards around and instead put the Fool here and paired it with the High Priestess, these cards may prompt you to do a little bit of soul searching. It's time to journey inward and find stillness and listen to what your intuition has been trying to tell you. Or if we paired this instead with the Hanged Man, maybe the thing that you need to pause and meditate on is this idea or belief that life awaits you somewhere else, that you have to travel far away in order to connect to who you are and find your purpose. So that is it for today's lesson. If you have any further questions about the Fool, feel free to comment below, or you can reach out to me at byjoveastrology.com and book a tarot tutoring session with me today.